Welcome to the Coffee with Cheryl podcast, the podcast for women over 50 who want to live their best life right now. Imagine having the courage to reinvent your life financially, professionally, personally, and spiritually. Join Cheryl and guests as they share practical tips and resources to inspire you to achieve the lifestyle of your dreams. So grab your favorite mug. It's time for Coffee with Cheryl.
To Coffee with Cheryl, the podcast for women over 50 who want to live their best life right now. I am your host, Cheryl Garrison. I'm a speaker and author. I'm a coach, and I'm a champion for all things women over 50. And I'm so glad that you joined us today for Coffee with Cheryl. I hope you have your favorite cup of coffee with you and ready to have some discussion today with my guest, my cousin, Lisa Haynes-Scott. Hi, Lisa. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Cheryl. I'm so excited. And yes, I have my coffee. I'm ready.
I have mine too somewhere in here. What did I do with it? Oh, well, I had a cup of coffee somewhere. That tells you the kind of morning I'm going to have. Anyway, those of you who don't know Lisa, it was in our first book, Becoming 50-something, and she shared her story of grief. And she is now a certified grief counselor, and she also is a certified case manager. And I'll have her tell you more about that in a few minutes. But in her role as a grief counselor, she helps people to overcome grief in their own way so that they can find some level of joy and an ability to honor those who have left us. And she will talk about how her journey through grief, through the loss of her daughter. But first, Lisa, I want to start with our quote, and then I'll do an official introduction of you. Our quote today is, "Be the thing you loved most about the people who are gone." And when I found that quote, I thought about you, Lisa, and how you honor your daughter, Essence.
Oh, that's a great quote. I like that quote. I'm going to have to use that one.
I thought having lost a couple siblings of my parents, it has a lot of meaning to me because I feel that they left so much. And if I can build on that's a beautiful thing. But as a grief counselor, and your business is the Grief Zone?
Yes,
right?
It is.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about Grief Zone. What do you do in your grief counseling?
So I started Grief Zone about 2 years ago, but how I was interested in Grief Zone and starting an education system is because I did have the death of my daughter. It was unexpected. She was sick for a few years, and you never know what life is going to give you. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't have been something that should have, ended her life, but it was. But she was prepared. She was ready. She was always open about her relationship with God and how she had a great life, and she wanted other people through her sickness. She had a pancreatitis, but it wasn't the regular pancreatitis. Mm-hmm. Wasn't a drinker. She wasn't overly overweight. It just didn't react the way it should react, and it just got worse. She was on 1.5 years on what they call TPN, which is a feeding system. Mm-hmm. So the young lady was a social worker. She would get up every morning, start her TPN, and drive and go to work all day in the prison, come home, and then let it run again. Oh. So she transitioned. I started saying, well, what am I going to do? Because a lot of times she was my oldest. The plan had always been that she was going to be the one that take care of everything, and with her brother, she was going to handle all of our stuff. Now, what do? I'm 50-something. We've kind of planned this out. We have this out. My life changes. How do you go? Am I still a mother? What do I say? How do I go on? And then how do I keep her memory alive? Mm-hmm. So That's why I started Grief Zone. I'm a nurse by trade and I'm a case manager. And right now I deal with oncology, but I've always been someone kind of educating people and advocating people for their health and making sure they have things in place so that their family doesn't have to decide for them. And treatment, being the voice for your own treatment.
Mm-hmm.
So when I decided that after she transitioned, I knew to keep my family together and to keep me sane. I am a Christian and I believe in God.
Yeah.
I believe wholeheartedly in all that he has to offer, but I also know that God doesn't want his children to not be prepared. And sometimes some of us are given tasks that are unusual. You're given the task of making sure that women over 50 know that life is not over. You can start something new.
Mm-hmm.
And because I had been working with you, I decided I needed to start something new because when we were looking for places to go, there was nobody that looked like me. All the churches I attended, they didn't have anything.
Mm-hmm.
So a regular therapist, which was great, but he was doing therapy. I didn't need therapy.
Right.
Explain, how do you deal with grief? Exactly what is grief? Grief is a natural response to loss. It's an emotion, and it doesn't always deal with death. It can deal with divorce, a loss of a job, moving, 50-something, your life changed, kids are out of the house. That's different, being empty nesters. So I looked at a program that was going to use my nursing background, but I also could use it to help others. And that's what I did. It was an online study. It's probably, I have a master's, I've been to nursing school, but it was the most difficult thing I did because it really talked about how we in the United States, we don't honor grief and death like other countries.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so-and-so died. When's the funeral? Where's the repast?
Yeah.
All gathered for that celebration. What do you do when it's all over?
Right.
Nobody's knocking on the door. Nobody's calling. Nobody's checking on you. You're left there with your emotion and feelings. And what do? We had to make sure all her affairs were in order because she didn't have a family. But still, we needed to make sure people knew that she was deceased. So the paperwork and stuff you have to find out. Bring her things home because she didn't live here.
Right.
Pick up her place where she lived at to, pack up her stuff and just get things in order. So I needed something that told me how to act to that. We did attend a program that's called Grief Share, which is just about in every city. You can look it up on great information. And it gave us the steps of what do you do after that. There's no timeline for how you have to do stuff.
Right.
If you have a spouse, you might not want to clean the closet out right away, but your children might be telling you, get rid of dad's stuff. You take the time that you need. How do you deal with your friends when it's times that you just don't feel like getting out of the house because it's a day? How do you deal with triggers? For me, sometimes it's listening to gospel music and a song maybe that was inspirational for her now has a different meaning.
Right, than it did then.
That song, what is it that I do? How do I move on? So I started this business because I wanted to help others understand grief and know what it's like to deal with grief. How do you move forward every day? And to know that my life's not over. My daughter has transitioned. She's in a wonderful place.
Yeah.
But I'm still here. So I have to deal with that every day and how I want to present myself. I grieve differently from how you grieve, how my husband grieves, friends grieve, and there's no right or wrong way. But what I do tell people is, as soon as services are over, find someone you can talk to, whether it's a therapist, whether it's a grief counselor, whether it's a grief support group, whether it's some friends that have been through the same thing. But you have to find an outlet that teaches you how to deal every day with what you're going to go through. So that's how I got started.
That, when you shared your story in the book and talked about, how you dealt with essence, essence leaving here. A lot of us, when we read your story, we having not gone through that, we were able to feel your pain, but also we started to think. I know for me, I started to think, how would I cope given the same circumstance? Where will I go if I'm in that same situation? How could I be as strong as Lisa was when she went through this? And we saw your strength. Now, a lot of women in our community are experiencing, like you said, we're experiencing loss in different ways. Tell us some ways that, especially when we think about loss of that, like you were talking about the empty nest, or loss of your career, because now we've been, pretty much downsized out of the workplace. How do we deal with that? How do we find ways to find meaning in that and to move forward and to live that best life that we know that we're entitled to live after 50?
Good question. As I say, find support. Turn to family and friends. If you're a faith believer, draw comfort from that faith.
Mm-hmm.
I also tell people to recognize, take care of yourself. That's the first thing I had to do. I had a husband and a son, and if I fell apart, what was going to happen to them? So during the time that Essence was sick, one of the things that I started doing, I got up every morning at 5 o'clock, I did a Bible study, and I walked. I got out of the house, I got away from everything. And for me, just being out walking is a peace of mind.
Mm-hmm.
Found that to be comforting. Someone else might paint. I have a friend that she had a stroke. So that changed her life. She no longer could drive. She no longer could do some certain things. She took up art. She decided she wanted to paint. So she found something that was able to help her do something different. Face your feelings. I have days that I just don't want to get out of bed. It doesn't mean that I don't get out of bed, but I recognize my feelings and I understand what it is. So I plan my day for that.
Right.
I plan my day for how I'm going to handle work. Some days on a weekend, Friday nights, like it's Friday night, I stay up on Friday night and celebrate myself. If me and I have things planned, he knows Friday night is my day.
Oh, good.
And I am a TV watcher and a movie watcher. I enjoy time with him. And then about 8 o'clock, I go into my little space and I watch all the programs he doesn't want to watch. And I enjoy that. That brings joy to me and gives me a comfort. And he knows that, and that just works for me. So that's something that when you're saying jobs have changed, I'm already thinking, what am I going to do when I'm no longer a nurse? I'm going to help people overcome grief on whatever it is.
Right.
I want to see that there's things that you can do. Express your way creatively. Look after yourself physically. It doesn't mean that you have to go out and just become a weightlifter, but do some small things that help you be able to take care of yourself and plan ahead for your triggers. I know what my triggers are. I know how they feel. And then I already plan ahead on how I'm going to do. Sit down, take a deep breath, get a nice glass of water or tea, because I'm not a coffee drinker. Just think about how you can handle that so that you can move forward each day.
I experienced something like that when my a major business that I invested in, and it failed during the housing market crash, and a big financial loss. And I felt as if the world had ended, only because I had felt such guilt about experiencing this level of debt and putting that on my family. And I could not believe that was my reaction to it. And it was almost like the world didn't end, Cheryl, but it did feel that way. And I'll tell you, the thing that brought me out of that depression, out of that feeling of hopelessness, was 50-something lifestyle. It was starting this business because it gave me a purpose again in life. And so when you were talking about when you are experiencing those losses, sometimes you just have to look for something good to do, something purposeful to do to get past it. Now, I know when you, in the book, you mentioned blankets that
Yeah.
you started doing in memory of your daughter. Talk about how that helped you through the grieving process.
So every year for her birthday, I like to do something to give back. Um, I'm a volunteer. I belong to some groups and I believe in helping others. But Essence was the type of person, if she met you and she connected with you, she liked to make no-sew blankets. She would make you a blanket and get it to you. She didn't let any time rest on her, like, oh, I'll wait till Christmas or I'll wait till their birthday. So the first year, my friends wanted to help, and what we did was we made bags for women at a homeless shelter, and we put everything we thought a woman needed in there. And that was great. But then it has to be an Essence stamp. So now what I do is I, all year long, watch the sales, and I buy the no fleece blankets. I have some friends that buy, and I donate for how her age is. This year she'll be, next year she'll be 34. So I will give out 34 blankets.
Oh.
So whether it's to a homeless shelter, I've given it to another mother that has a foundation. Her daughter and her granddaughter transitioned, and I gave it to them to be able to give. I sometimes just see women on the street and I pass them out to them. My daughter was also an organ donor. So this last year, we donated those blankets to the organ donation center here, which then give them to those who are either receiving organs or either giving organs. So every year I find somewhere that I want to donate them in a memory of her. So that's a way that I keep her going. And when I retire and I'm no longer, I will do more with this. I would like to do a grief walk where all of us who have lost someone, we can just take that day. August is known as Grief Month. We can just walk. We can have a walk just like everyone else has a walk for breast cancer, for that. And then just have people come out in the shirts that they want to wear to honor those that have gone before them. So just in teaching people how you can still keep your loved one remembered. You should always share some of the things that they have, because that is how we have all been able to move forward. Grandma's recipes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, toolbox. Learning from maybe a member you worked with, your coworker. She made this great cake, or she was known for making everybody laugh. So just different things like that that you do to keep that memory alive. And these things don't have to be things that cost a whole lot. If you like baking, you might want to think about some of the people in your neighborhood and just go by on a day that's not a normal day and knock on the door and say, hey, I just want to bring you some joy. So I'm taking you these plate of cookies. So you just find things that you're able to do. And that's one thing I look forward to. My friends look forward to. I have blanket parties. So some of them I drop off and they do them at their house. And some of them they come over with me and we have a party and we do them together.
Wow, that's very amazing, Lisa, to be able to think about others like that, and to know that your daughter sort of started that for you, even though I know it was in your heart to do before you lost her. But just imagine the beauty, the legacy that she has left for those who receive those blankets or receive those kind words or anything that you're able to give in her honor. That is just a beautiful memory for her. I know for a lot of us in our 50-somethings, we sometimes become so self-involved and I don't want to say feel sorry for ourselves, but we sort of delve inside of ourselves, go inside of ourselves, and don't want other people to know what's going on with us, that we are experiencing some kind of loss, whether it's a loss of a loved one or a loss, like I said, of a job or just a loss of uh, financial loss.
Yes.
Talk about how we can bring ourselves out of that. How do we move from being inward and outward to where we can do some of the things that you talked about?
So the one thing that I've always done is after she transitioned, my prayer was not to make me mean
Uh-huh.
and me addicted. I didn't want people to see me or have that memory of her tearing our family down because she's gone.
Yeah.
So I had to think about what would she do and the people that loved me and wanted to be around me. And I had to remember it's okay to be happy. But I am blessed. I have some great friends, some great family members that I can talk to them about that. Some days I have one girlfriend and she said, "Are we putting on our big girl panties today?" That means we're disgusted, but we're not going to fall out in tears. And
Right.
you find your tribe. You have to find your group. And this 50-something group helped me. I'm not a writer. I would have never wrote. But because I knew it was a way to try something different and to
Uh-huh.
get out of that rut, I had to find a tribe that understood me. 50-something understood me. These were mothers who were dealing with taking care of their aging parents. They were moving from out of the jobs that they did. They were downsizing their homes. They might have dealt with loss themselves. And sometimes you just lose yourself as to who you are.
Right.
But I remember I have to be happy. My daughter was happy. Even when she was sick, when we were together, I don't know what she did when I wasn't around her, but when we were together, she was joyous and enjoyed every moment that we were together. And you have to remember that it's okay to be happy. It's okay to start something different. Find something that touches your heart, and then you use that to move forward so you can help others. I used to always say in church, I don't know what my testimony is. I haven't been hungry.
Uh-huh.
I hadn't been sick. I had a good life. It wasn't a great,
Uh-huh.
I had a good life.
Right.
I always said, what's my testimony? Well, God showed me my testimony. Sometimes testimony comes out of trauma and the things,
Uh-huh.
and I enjoy being able to help people understand grief and letting them know it's okay. It's okay to share and talk and heal yourself and help others. That's what we're really supposed to do in life anyway, is to help others.
That's true.
You just
And
open up and tell somebody, hey, I'm not doing well. It might not be one person that can help that, but they might know somebody. Because we know all our friends have a talent. You have a talent of getting us up and involved. You have us, Cheryl, and 50-something doing things a lot of us would never do. Start a business.
yeah.
Open up, do public speaking. So you just have to find your tribe, but you'll never find your tribe if you keep your mouth closed.
That's
So
true.
you open up and let people know who you are and what you need. You have to get outside of the house and what it is. After she transitioned, we didn't do it right away, but we remodeled our house because it was not the house of the kids being in school. We now have a house that fits us as empty
Right.
nesters. So a lot of the kids stuff was there. You know how we all have the trophies and all the things that says them. We took all that down, not because we're not proud of it, but because now it's us. What do we
Right.
on the walls? What is it that we like? We have a house now that's brighter, more open, because the before was for the kids.
Oh,
You had,
definitely.
you had the furniture set up, so you would always have a bunch of kids, because I know most parents' houses like my house. You want the kids to be somewhere is comfortable. You don't want them out just on the street. So we changed. So
Mhm.
now we have things that are different and lively for us, because it looks like empty nesters who are happy and they enjoy their space. As you say, big easy chairs to lean,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
just show who we are. So you
Right.
have to change some
We
things.
did the same thing just last year. Decided that we needed our house now. We did the mom and dad thing. I'll tell you, Lisa, one of the greatest things for me when I started 50 something was when you decided to join the group, because it meant so much to me that being my cousin and joining something that was near and dear to me, because a lot of times family sees you doing things and they say, oh, that's nice. Look at Cheryl, she's doing this. But they really never think about joining you in the journey.
Yes.
So when you decided to join, not only join 50 something, but also become a part of the book, that was one of those moments for me that was just so wonderful. And I'm just so glad that you bring so much energy and life into the group. And I appreciate you so much for doing that.
Well, I am grateful for the group. I have made some good friends in the group. I have learned some things, and I have tried things that I would never try. So good as everybody always say, and the young people say, you got to find your tribe. I found, I
Good.
love it. And if anybody has a chance, join 50 something. Just sign up. You can find her on Facebook. You can find her. She has a podcast. She has so many ideas that you can use your creativity, but it's just nice to get on and have women who are like-minded, that have lived a little bit of their life, but still have so much more to give. So that just made me see other things, and there's so much more I want to try because of you. So I'm grateful for the group. Everybody I know, even if they're about 45, I say, you need to join 50 something.
Well, that's a wonderful, wonderful referral. I love that. Now, before we go, I want you to tell us what's in store for Grief Zone. I know you're still working and you're sort of doing your business part-time, but what's in store? What do you see the future of Grief Zone as you go into the next few years?
Okay, so what I'm going to do is now, get on social media. I'm not a big social media, but I did a presentation not too long ago, and a friend of mine, her and her husband co-pastor, and she said, you need to just get on TikTok and give little short details and things for people to do. So I'm going to try that. That's for me. I'm also reaching out to a lot of our local churches. I'm planning now in our community and in churches, period. There's been a lot of loss, and not just loss and deaths. With COVID, churches that have been over forever didn't know how to transition, and they're just closing the building down. They're no longer going back to church. So people are kind of lost. So I'm going to be giving a workshop on dealing with death, but also just learning how to maneuver in what life has for us.
Oh.
I'm going to start a support group for angel moms. There's a lot of women out there like me, and just to see what some of these women are doing, and for those women that just need someone to talk to be able to have that group, because we understand like no one else understands. And everybody needs someone to understand them. So those are some of the things that I'm going to move forward with. And just I want Grief Zone to be known worldwide and internationally. Because like I said, there are Christians and women who have no idea where to go that are dealing with grief. Not just death, but grief and loss. Yeah. And it's hard to find a good community to be able to discuss that, to talk and share and be able to see how you can rise above it. And then I am lucky to know about a dozen social workers who are therapists. So if you need that next step, I know someone that's licensed that can help you if you're really dealing with deep depression and other things to help you get out of that and move forward and see that life is beautiful. And you're here for a reason. So let's figure out that reason so that you can be a blessing to someone else.
And that is a beautiful thing. And I cannot wait to see where Grief Zone goes. And I hope that we will be a part of your growth. And as you grow, that you will let us be a part of it and come on and do workshops for us, because we're all experiencing some sort of loss. And
Correct.
We're grieving in some form. And for women over 50, a part of living our best life is to be able to deal with the things that happen to us in life and to not be consumed by them and not have them so totally take over our lives that we don't live anymore. So we hope that you'll be able to come into the community and give workshops for those of us who are experiencing those things. And so I really appreciate you being here today, Lisa.
Thank you. It was so fun. A great
And I know you do offer consultations, right?
consultation. So my information, we'll put the information. I'm on Facebook as Lisa Haynes-Scott.
Okay.
I'll have an Instagram page for Grief Zone. So you can reach out to me and I do a 30-minute consultation to see how I can be able to benefit you. So I will give my information to Cheryl. She'll be able to put it in the group and then you'll be able to go from there.
Yeah, I'll put it in the comments for in our YouTube page so that you can be able to reach her, and I'll put your email so they can reach you by email. But for those of you who are looking for someone to just help you through something you're going through, this may be a great opportunity to take advantage of these consultations. As you can see, Lisa will be a perfect person for you to talk to because her spirit comes through, and we're so excited to have you as part of the group. And I'm so grateful that you joined us on today's podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, well, have a wonderful day. And for those of you out there who are listening to the podcast, don't forget to live your best life, not tomorrow, not 3 years from now, but right now, today. So thank you so much for being a part of the podcast, and we will see you next week.